Hello there, my spooky, scary skeletons. It's Chloe in real life, your guide to the ghoulish, your share of the spook, and a fan of all things frightful. Welcome back to another episode of my Halloween Spooktacular. Today I am here at the Natural History Museum in Los Angeles, California, and I am here to check out the brand new exhibit, The Natural History of Horror. This is an awesome exhibit all about the history, the legends, and even the science of some of the Universal classic monsters, which, as you know, is the theme of this Halloween Spooktacular. The Universal classic monsters have just been following me wherever I go. So let's go learn about some of these iconic creatures. So now we start at the first part of the exhibit, which is all about the creature from the Black Lagoon, which is a movie I haven't seen yet, but after seeing this exhibit, I really want to. I'm really interested because something that's really cool is it's actually based in science, which I think is really fun. In 1938, a creature that was thought to be extinct over 65 million years ago was actually discovered alive in the ocean. And this was a creature that was kind of the missing link between life on land and life on the sea. And this was the creature that inspired the creature from the Black Lagoon. So let's go see the actual monster. So this is actually a replica of the latex suit that was used in Creature from the Black Lagoon. But many of these monsters are actually based on real scientific discoveries. So this suit at the time was totally cutting edge because the gills would move when the actor breathed. But even though the suit was so high-tech, it was still very hard for the actor to film in because he couldn't wear goggles or have an oxygen tank, so some changes still needed to be made. So this is actually a really cool piece. This is the copy from the original mold. So this is what the mask would have looked like on the original suit. And the creature from the Black Lagoon was designed by Millicent Patrick, who is actually a lady, which I think is really cool because this movie came out in the 1950s. And the creature from the Black Lagoon was imagined to be the missing link between creatures that lived in the sea and creatures that lived on the land, which I feel like they did a pretty good job of making a humanoid fish. So the creature of the Black Lagoon was obviously inspired by science, but of course he was also inspired by legends. This Amazon legend tells the story of a half man, half fish that would pop out of the ocean, steal women, and drag them back into the ocean, which is pretty much the creature from the Black Lagoon. So here's the creature, the coelacanth, that the monster was based on, and it was originally thought to be the missing link between life on sea and life on land. So the next movie up is Dracula. So vampire legends had existed for centuries before Bram Stoker published Dracula, which later got turned into the classic movie Dracula. And vampire stories were often associated with the plague and rabies and other diseases, and people would blame them for unexplained deaths or bloated corpses, which is pretty creepy if you can't figure out why a loved one died. Oh, it's because a vampire got him. So let's check out the rest of this exhibit. So one of the coolest props, in my opinion, that's here is the actual bat from the Dracula movies. And a little known fact is there were actually 2 Dracula films made at the same time using the same script and the same sets, one during the day in English and one at night in Spanish. But they actually think that the Spanish version is the better movie out of the 2, which now I kind of want to watch it. So here's another fun but really creepy and scary fact. Due to cholera pandemics in the 1830s, people were actually buried hours after death. Sometimes they weren't even dead because they wanted to stop the spread of disease, where the whole fear of being buried alive and coming back to life after death really came from. I think that's pretty creepy. So this really goes into the science of how sound effects are made in movies. And something that's really cool is it shows you clips from the movies and it shows you what sound effects to make. So for instance, you got some footsteps, you got a creaking door. So the reason they talked about sound effects for Dracula is because it was one of the first horror movies to actually have sound with both the English and the Spanish version, and they use some of these techniques to really give you that soundscape. So next up we have The Mummy, and this is a movie that was inspired by the discovery of King Tut's tomb back in 1922. So they have some really cool props. They have a vase actually that was from The Mummy that was based on actual vases that were found in King Tut's tomb, as well as some wrappings from The Mummy that the actor wore, and it actually took them 8 hours to apply his makeup, which I think is crazy, sitting in a chair for 8 hours getting makeup applied. Then you have to go film a movie. That's gotta be a lot. So if you're wondering where this whole mummy legend curse came from, it actually came from the discovery of King Tut's tomb. There were some hieroglyphics that were mistranslated. It was originally on this Anubis shrine, and it was almost had a message of protection for the tomb, but it was mistranslated into a curse saying, "I will kill those who cross this threshold," and that associated with some of the mysterious deaths is really where this mummy curse came from. What's behind here? Dr. Frankenstein's quest to reanimate the dead was based in part on the work of Luigi Galvani, who was a real 19th century scientist who often worked with animal electricity, which the idea of that really captivated the public, including the author of the future Frankenstein novel. So here's another really cool prop. It's the actual shackles from the movie all the way back in 1931. And a funny story behind these shackles is the movie was originally thought to be way too graphic. Scenes had to be cut, and I just think that's really funny because especially with how graphic horror movies are nowadays, I'm sure even the most graphic scenes from Frankenstein couldn't even hold a candle to today's horror movies. And this exhibit even allows you to be Dr. Frankenstein. It's alive! And we've just been Dr. Frankenstein. Now it's our chance to be Dr. Galvani and make this frog leg come to life. So that was the exhibit. It runs until April of 2020. So you have plenty of time to come check it out. It's not just a Halloween thing, because really horror movies can be any time of the year. They're not just Halloween. Don't let anybody tell you that they are. And if you want to dive deeper into these horror movies, they actually have events where you can come, learn more about these movies from horror history experts, watch some performances, and even screen the movie. So be sure to come check that out. I will have all the info in the description box down below. And be sure to come visit the Natural History Museum. They have obviously the history of horror, but they have so many other cool exhibits that I know you're gonna love. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, comment, don't forget to subscribe. Comment down below what your favorite classic monster movie is, because I want to know. And I will see you all next time. Don't forget to stay spooky. Bye. Was the most I have a cut on my hand and it hurts. So that was the exhibit. It rums. It's alive! Ah! It's alive! I like saying that. My question is, why is he's supposed to be a half man, half fish, but then where do the whiskers come into play? Oh, is he like a half man, half catfish? Because he would, no, I was trying to make like a catfish joke, like women wouldn't expect, they would expect, oh yeah, he is kind of a catfish, because when he would like show his upper half and then all the ladies would be like, it's a man in the ocean, okay, I'm gonna go with. And then he's gonna be like, psych, I'm actually a fish, you just got catfished. And that's why he's a catfish. Boom. No, it's his hands. Hands!